Today I want to start out with a short devotional of some words that I'm sure you as ministers know and have read and have preached, but just kind of go back to some of the very basics of what we do for sick people. Jesus gave a parable in the book of Matthew, chapter 25. The parable, he says, "Then the king will say to those on his right hand, 'Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world.'" Jesus is speaking here. "For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. And I was in prison, and you came to me." And the people said, "When did we see you sick, in prison, naked, hungry?" And Jesus said, "When you did it for the least of any of those my children, you did it to moi, me." We're going, wait. You're talking about when I go into a room and visit a sick patient, that I'm in essence visiting Jesus? Yeah. And then he goes on in this passage, the shocking part, to say, "When you didn't visit, you didn't visit me." I think the hospital chaplaincy for me has been the most fun ministry I've ever done. I was a pastor for 16 years. I was assistant pastor 3 years, a senior pastor for 7 years, and a marriage and family counseling pastor for 7 years. I loved doing that. And it took a crowbar to get me out of that to make me do the hospital chaplaincy ministry. That crowbar was a friend of mine who was in the same church. We were assistant pastors together. And Bob went to one certain hospital and became a hospital chaplain. He loved it so much, he goes, "Larry, why don't you do this?" And I go, "Whoa, you kidding me? Why would I want to go visit sick people? Why would I want to go room to room and talk to people about I really didn't want to. I did it as a pastor. It was okay. But I loved being a counselor. And I didn't want to do it. And I told him no. And he said, "Well, I've already told them you're the right one for the job, so just go down there and apply." Okay, Bob. Looked at this 8-page job description, and I told them right then that they're nuts. I said, "I'm a workaholic. I consistently work full-time job and 4 other jobs. I love to work. But there's no superhuman that can do this the way you've scheduled it." And so I didn't care what I told them. I didn't want the job. Okay? Well, they go, "Well, we'll look into that if we choose you out of one of the 6." And like, okay, whatever. I don't care. Just, okay. I think this is what you ought to do, for your program. Then I went home, and the Lord started getting a hold of me. And I was going, I don't want to do this, Well, the Lord maybe knew something that I didn't know. And, I really got inspired by this. It really took about 1.5 years later. I'm a slow learner. It took me about 1.5 years later before I caught on, and I liked the hospital chaplaincy. You know what for me I liked? The staff. They became also my mission field. The physicians. Everybody that walked through the door is free game with me, buddy. So I consider myself a pastor of the largest church in my county. I have 1,000 employees there, 250 volunteers, 300 physicians. The patients stay on an average of 3 days. They change over in our 208 beds, change over about every 3 days, and their families and every friends, and all that's my ministry. And somehow God opened my eyes to that fabulous ministry. I'm a trauma junkie. I love trauma. I love crisis. I love emergencies. Send me to the meanest family member. I just can't wait to get there. I'm weird that way. But send me to a routine visit, and I'll go, no. And so I have 16 volunteer chaplains that love that. So I go, please. I'm just not good with that. And when a new volunteer comes on staff, I don't train them. I go, you go around with Dick, you go around with Carlo, you go around Ann, you go around with Mary, because they're good at it. But when there's a trauma, when they say code blue, code gray, code pink, code white, code whatever, I'm going. And you just watch me, because that's what I shine in. So hospital chaplaincy looked boring to me at the beginning, okay? Until I saw some other possibilities. Now I'll say to you, I'm going to open up your world today about maybe different things in the hospital you never thought about ministry. A normal pastor walking in kind of goes, I'm thinking about my sermon and I really need to be playing ball with my son and doing this. Here I'm coming in. Okay, well, I pray this little prayer. We get this little done. Are we done now? Okay, I did my job. Now some, I know other you love that, okay? But some are just going, okay, I prayed my prayer. They feel better. I feel better. Good, we're done now, okay? I get back in my car and get back to my real job. But there's a fabulous ministry that we can have at that bedside. You know, it's the only ministry I know of where we go to somebody's bedroom. If you know of another one, don't tell me. I don't want to know it, really. But it's the only ministry I know of where we minister to people in their bedroom. And they are clothed quite low, little bit of thing hanging out in the back, you know. It's strange that we're coming in and they want us to come. But when they're sick and get home, do we go visit? No. We go see them in the hospital. And they want you to come. But when they get home, well, we don't go as much. But there's some connection that we have and has been a ministry of a minister coming to the hospital. And that has become a big part for the hospitals about what we do. Let me give you a little taste of what's going on in our hospital industry of how spiritual care is becoming huge. There's an organization called Joint Commission. Anybody ever heard of Joint Commission? Joint Commission is the agency that oversees all hospitals across the U.S., okay? They come in and they inspect. They inspect your oxygen tanks, your medicine, how they treat people, whether the floor is clean. And Joint Commission said in 2004 that every patient will have a spiritual assessment. Joint Commission did. A non-Christian agency, a non-faith-based agency said you will do spiritual assessment on all of your patients. And you will fulfill that assessment, and you will chart that assessment. Well, now we're on the team, folks. Now here's how we got on the team. ACPE, the Clinical Pastor Education Group, is the one that has marketed this for many years and has promoted this to Joint Commission and has proven to them on paper that spiritual care makes patients better quicker. Amen. And all of you go, well, I know that, duh. But Joint Commission caught it. And so if they go, well, if medicine makes them better, and physical therapy makes them better, respiratory therapy, and speech pathology and all this makes them better, and spiritual care makes them better too, why aren't we doing it? So they're on the bandwagon for us. Is anybody can say amen out there? Now when you got them on your side saying it will happen, but here is what else could happen. If we don't shine in this moment, there may be someone else they put in those categories that does spiritual care. Okay? If we don't shine, and I'm saying I'm seizing the moment, I'm going to shine, we're going to make this good. Now here's kind of what started in my motivation for this. About 9-10 months ago, I was taking a trip with our risk manager. Risk manager is a legal person in the hospital. She's a Christian. I'm a good friend of hers. We work together at a hospital, and she moved up to the corporate level. She was having a problem with one of the hospitals, and so we drove together to go talk to the staff to kind of heal some wounds of problems they were having. On the way, as this spiritual Christian friend of mine, she goes, Larry, have you thought about helping HMA out with their spiritual needs and with their ethical problems, things like that? And I go, Denise, are you reading my heart? Like, yeah, I've been praying about that. Yeah, I would love to do it. Wow! But who am I? And she said, Larry, I want you emailing Kelly Curry tomorrow. Kelly Curry is the second person in charge of HMA. Kelly Curry just so happens to be an ordained minister, a missionary to Ireland, who will tell you if he stands here in this place, my life was broken 13 years